So, you ever been in a situation where everything seems to be going awesome? The conversation's going well, you think you're making progress, and then it all comes crashing down. You don't know why. Well, that's what we're here to talk about today on Everyday KT number 234, how to stop talking yourself out of whatever it is that you're trying to do. Could be anything that we're talking about here. Could be a sale if you're in business, a discount if you're trying to buy something, date maybe, promotion, pretty much whatever it is that you're trying to do. I'm sure everyone has had this same experience where things are going amazing and then they just fall apart. Or worse yet, they never get to that point in the first place. Well, luckily, and I say luckily, and I use that word very, very sparingly, the solution is painfully easy to talk about. Implementing, whole different story. It's that everybody's heard about it, the KISS principle. Simplicity. Simple, simple, simple. Just because you know what you're talking about does not mean and almost guarantees that whoever you're talking to has no idea what you're saying. I was watching a video today, and that's all I talked about. It's like, listen, if you're here, your clients are here, or the people you're talking to are here, guess what? You need to be talking at this level. Just because you can rattle off the periodic table, every single element from front to back, sideways, upside down, and crossways, the people you're trying to talk to over here might not even have had chemistry. So, it's just an example. You have to go from this to this. So these people will understand you. How do you do that? Well, we talked about storytelling in the past, but you have to find a way to understand, actually no, not even find a way. You have to understand your product, your whatever. You have to understand it so well that you could walk into a kindergarten and explain what you do to them. Now, if they can understand it, then rock on. You can talk to anybody. The hard part, though, so we've established that it's really easy. You know this much, they know this much, talk at this level. Simple, right? Wrong. Because you know this much, you're going to be very eager to explain this, to talk about this, to make it known that you know this much over here about whatever it is. But people here don't care because they don't know. You're talking yourself out of whatever these things more often than not because you're talking over people's heads. Especially if you're an expert in whatever your field is, you're way over here talking. I mean, not even on the screen. Right here is where everybody else is. You need to talk from here all the way, bring it all the way down, dial it down to here. This is where you talk. Perfect example from my personal experience. I used to sell electronics over at Sears long time ago, back when plasmas were just becoming a thing. Now, at the time, HD wasn't real, it was just coming out. 1080p was a new thing. 720 was the best there was. Now, for those of you who don't know, the television screen, especially the new LCDs, it's a grid, horizontal and vertical. The number is how many dots per inch. So, how many dots in a square inch? HD is 1080p, 1080 dots per inch. DLP, which was the technology at the time, was 720. The old school TVs was 400 and 480, I think. So 720 was the technology. That's where things were. 1080 was plasma. This old woman walks in, she walks in and she's looking at the televisions. And there's this young, fresh salesperson, I don't remember the kid's name, trying to tell her all of the grand, glorious things about 1080p HD. And the woman was, she was here. He was talking way out here. I'm that far, way out there. She's back here. So they're talking, and she's obviously getting nowhere and getting a little frustrated. So, knowing that this kid was new, I walked over and asked him if he needed help, and he says, "Nope, I got it." And then a couple seconds later, I said, "Hey, excuse me, ma'am. Let me borrow him for a minute." I asked him legitimately, "What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, I got this." I'm like, "You don't have anything. She's not even. She's frustrated. She's mad at you. What's going on?" And she's like, "Well," or the kid's like, "I'm trying to explain to her what the 1080p is with the vertical and the horizontal and all of that mess, and nothing happened. Nothing was happening at all." So I told the kid, I'm like, "Listen, let me take care of this. There's somebody else over there, high commission item. Go talk to them." Of course, this TV that we were talking about was a $10,000 television when plasmas were new. So we're sitting there, and she's got all the questions, and she's like, "I just don't understand what this is." And I'm thinking to myself, what are we talking about here? Okay, so I say, "Ma'am, do you know anything about sheets?" She's like, "Oh, yeah." So she's like, "Absolutely." And she started talking about some amazing sheet. I don't remember what. And I'm like, "Well, let's put it this way. Okay, this TV over here," and I was pointing to the crappy ones, "that is like your motel 100 thread count crappy sheets that just suck, right?" She's like, "Oh, okay, well that explains why it's fuzzy on them." Okay, this one in the middle, that's like your 300-400 thread count, halfway decent, pretty good, not too bad. Her eyes got big. She's like, "Oh, it's that good, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, but let's look at this. This one over here, that's your Egyptian cotton. 1,000 thread count. Feels like just heaven." And she looks at the screens, looks at them, thinks about it for a second. She's like, "I'll take two. The $10,000 televisions." Because I went from here to here. Just because I know all of this stuff about that TV, she doesn't. She's right here. This is her understanding. But found something she does know. She's way over here on sheets, fabric, thread counts. She knows a lot about that. And because I was able to take the TV, translate it into thread count, that was a 10% commission, I believe, on 20 grand. Wasn't too bad of a week for me. Now, how does that apply to everything else? Well, it's simple. You all have your own expertise. You have your own ideas of what's awesome, and you have your own understanding of, well, the things that you're experts at. And you know this much, way over here. Yep, see, I'm going past the screen on purpose. You know all about this stuff. Some of you are great chefs. Some are real estate agents. Some are cookie bakers. Some are who knows what. But you're way over here. The rest of the population who's not in that industry is right here. Now, if you want to get all of these people from here so that they understand what you're talking about, you got to talk at this level. So just dial it back a whole hell of a lot. Now, it's going to make you feel very uncomfortable because when you're trying to talk particle physics to a kindergartner, they got no clue what the hell you're talking about. But if you can do that, particle physics is, of course, just a random example because it's very difficult to talk about. Kindergartner can understand it at this level, then you can explain anything to anybody. So simple, simple, simple. Now, once you've started simple, from there you can gauge the understanding of you or the person you're talking to, sales, relationships, whatever. You're talking here, and you start here. You're talking here at the base level, and you realize, oh, hey, they know this much. Like, whoop, choom, shimmy right up to where that is, so that you can talk on their level. You don't want that. That's the other drawback, is if you're talking to someone who is fairly knowledgeable about something, and you realize it, but you still talk like they don't know what they're talking about, they're going to tune you out faster than the people who tuned you out in the first place. Because not only do they think that you're talking over their head, they think you're treating them like an idiot. Don't want to do that. So, once you've had that opening conversation and you've gauged the understanding and knowledge of the person you're talking to, go right up to that level. If you're talking Star Wars and they've only seen the last 2 or 3 movies, don't start talking about the ones in the beginning. Talk about the ones that they know about and work your way back or forward, depending on your perception of time and how you've watched the movies. But you figure out where they're at, what they know, and you work from that point. Because if you know this much and they know this much, you've got a lot of ground to cover. And that is where you can impress them. You can get the date. You can make the sale. You can get the promotion. You can do all of those things. But it's this first step. Simple. 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 Once you get that, everything else is easy. Just be able to explain what it is you do, how you do it, in plain English. No, or whatever language you're speaking for that matter. No business speak, no jargon, none of that stuff. For me, simple. I empower people to wear a kilt and encourage them to do to succeed in life. Simple. Very, very simple. Now, how? That's a huge whole different story. But that's it. You need to whittle it down to that level. So with that, I'll let you go. After somebody throws out a Kiltology, because as always, I'm trying to whittle these down so that you're not spending hours and hours and hours listening to me babble. Thanks, Josh. Somebody besides Chris threw out a Kiltology, quick. Because, he did it again. Chris, I think that's like 4 in a row. So, again, simple, simple, simple. Because if you can explain what you do to a kindergartner, you can explain it to everybody. And keep in mind, that I just remembered this. I should remember this in the meeting. When you're writing things, there's, in marketing and most industries, they suggest write it for an 8th grader. You could be writing an essay in college. Write it for an 8th grader. Because that's the average reading level of the country. 8th grader. So, simple, simple, simple. I say kindergartner because it's really, really hard to explain most things to a 5-year-old. If you can keep their attention, you're doing well. So, Kiltology, Volume 2. Nope, that comes close, but nope, I've already read that one. Nope. Oh, this is getting tough. I gotta have to write some more. You know what? I'll go with the first one I found. Alrighty. So, Kiltology, Volume 2. It's on Amazon. Kiltology number 303. Brains. While it is well known that kilts, as a whole, are the most brilliant folks on the planet, there's a little known dark side to this truth. A kiltie, in efforts to do something brilliant, has a 50-50 shot of doing the single most boneheaded thing possible with the absolute worst outcome. Yes, that is why we are in so many comedy routines. With as many brilliant kilties, there are an equal number of complete blockheads. How does that apply? Simple. That's how it applies. Simplicity. Trying to be awesome, trying to be amazing, trying to be incredibly, astoundingly, earth-shatteringly epic. I'm going to give you a 50-50 shot that you're going to forget that if you don't simplify it, the odds of you screwing it up go through the roof. Simple, simple, simple. It's key to everything. Simplicity. Simpler everything is, the easier it is. You don't have to worry about doing underwater Chinese algebra in the dark with your eyes closed. It's kind of tough. I tried it once. I got nowhere. I barely even stayed underwater. Simplicity. With that, I'll let you go. It is Wednesday night. Camels know what day it is. Tomorrow, it's going to be a good day prepping. I've got a seminar Friday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern. And if everything works out, I'll be live streaming. And it's going to be all about how to do this very thing right here. How to do social media. How to use Facebook Live to get your video in front of people. Yourself, your face, your product, your mission, your cause, your whatever. How to get it in front of people on Facebook using video. And like I said, we tried to live stream it and get it out to everybody in the universe. Regardless, it's going to be recorded and rebroadcast. But until then, you guys have a good night. 2 more days till the weekend. Be strong. Put a kilt on.